Hi everyone. I actually wasn't sure if I wanted to make this video and I've just been having a really tough week this week. It's been very hard for me, but I thought of the people who watch me regularly, so I really appreciate that and I didn't want to let anyone down. I know that I'm someone who's not very good with boundaries and I'm the type of person who is a giver. I didn't want to let the circumstances of what's happening in my life stop me from doing what I love. But at the same time, I'm trying to find balance. And I'm getting really emotional talking about this because I think I didn't want to cry on camera. It's just been really hard. I wanted to make this video because I've been so inspired by the lives I've touched, the people who comment at my videos. I think in the back of my mind, I didn't want my progress to be delayed or stalled because I'm going through something, but I think at the end of the day, I'm a real person. Things that happen in my life will impact me. I think I'm working on embracing how I feel and not trying to just brute force things. I wanted to make this video because there are a lot of things on my mind and I hope some of these things will resonate with someone and they won't feel alone. I guess to start things off, I just really had a difficult situation at work. It really was an emotional roller coaster. I don't think I'm ready to talk about it in details. If you've ever had a situation where you felt helpless and you felt like you've spoken up but then no one heard you, that's essentially how I was feeling. At the end of the day, work requires you to deliver an output, right? It's hard because I have a job that I work with a lot of people. I'm learning to balance being authentic and not hiding my feelings, but at the same time, I'm always going to be a professional. I guess the second thing that really hit me and it kind of drew in the feelings of some really deep-rooted stuff that happened to me this whole year. I was watching Dancing with the Stars, so if you're not from America, from the United States, Dancing with the Stars is a show where it's a dancing competition and celebrities will compete and they win something at the end called a mirror ball. I actually watched this season because someone who I was following, I mentioned this person before, her name is Jen Tran. She was the Bachelorette recently and it was not a great outcome, but then she was given the opportunity to compete and I was really interested in her journey, so I wanted to follow along. I've seen other seasons as well, but I'm not really much of an avid watcher of Dancing with the Stars. I reflected on my feelings after it. So what happened recently was she was eliminated. I'm hopefully not giving spoilers to anyone who hasn't seen it yet, but it's out there and she was eliminated. The dance she did for her elimination was a contemporary piece and it was really beautiful. It actually made me so touched. This was the dance that she actually got her first 10. So you get points from the judges, and this was her first 10. There's 3 judges. She had a 10, a 9, and a 9. And then there was a dance-off with another celebrity and their professional dancer, and she won that. So to say the least, that she was eliminated was a shocker, and it really just was disappointing because there were other celebrities that were competing as well who did dance as well, and you can see, it didn't look as artistic or technical and whatnot. So that was really disappointing for me, and really I was watching the show for her. When she was eliminated, I was no longer interested in continuing. I wanted to sit back and think about why was my reaction so strong? Why did I feel so disappointed in the fact that Jen Tran was eliminated from Dancing with the Stars, even though we know that she was a better dancer? And honestly, this was a across the board kind of feelings for folks who were watching the show. They were saying, wow, she does not deserve to be eliminated. Then I realized that the situation of working so hard towards a goal but not getting that results, that is life. I have probably mentioned it before in another video, but the one lesson that I learned early on when I was in high school was a teacher who said to me, life is not fair. It was so hard for me to internalize and understand that. Essentially, I think that a lot of people, including myself, we wish that life was fair. We wish that if you put in a certain amount of effort, you get a result back that hopefully is representative of the effort you put in, but that sometimes isn't how life works. And I think because of a lot of the things that have happened to me at work where I put in a lot of effort, but I'm treated a certain way or I'm not recognized or someone else gets credit for my work, it really hit home because it was that really sore spot in me where we hope that life is fair. We hope that there's merit involved when you put in the effort. That was a really tough thing. I had some reflection, and besides that, there's more things that happened this week that I'm not comfortable talking about at this moment, and maybe I'll talk about it in the future. But I hope that by sharing these thoughts that I have, it encourages people to not feel alone if you are in a similar boat, or maybe see a perspective that you may not have seen if I hadn't shared this. I really have been down. It's been just really hard. I had such a hard week running, and I'm really, I think, physically tired. So it's just been a really huge emotional roller coaster. On top of that, I had a coworker who is looking to retire soon, so we had something for that person. It's just been a lot happening, so I had to like move my schedule around, and I'm actually also running one of the longest training runs this weekend that I'm going to do before my marathons. It's just been, I think, a lot mentally, physically, emotionally, and I am trying to get through it all. I haven't gotten a lot of sleep. It's just been a very interesting week in that sense. Part of it is because my dog decided to wake me up around like 3 in the morning one day. We had a friend who was visiting and stayed over, and I guess it sounded like the friend sneezed, and my dog was like, "What is that?" That scared me and started barking. That's our guess, because we're not quite sure that's the case. That was just really exhausting. There was one day I went for a morning run, but I had run 10 miles the day before, and that was like less than a 12-hour break, and then I ran 5 miles that morning. So I'm just like really physically tired. With that all being said, I hope you're taking care of yourself physically, mentally, emotionally. And although I did mention earlier that I am looking to figure out how to balance my life and continue being such a giver and not getting back, I do get a lot back when I see that people resonate, that I see that I have subscribers. So thank you so much for subscribing, for watching, for liking. I really appreciate it, and I know I'm working towards not focusing on external validation, but I think the reason why those supportive comments or likes really resonate with me is because I feel like that gives me a signal that I'm reaching hearts, and that's really what I enjoy a lot. I think that it's such a difficult kind of thing because I'm not sure is that people pleasing, is that external validation, or is that just like, hey, I like the support? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the balance is. And with that all being said, I feel so much lighter now talking about what I just shared. I know at first it was really hard. I encourage you, if you are going through something like I am as well, whenever you're comfortable with sharing with a close friend, a maybe family member, or someone you just trust, or maybe you could just record yourself, or it could be like a journal or something, just please express yourself. Because when we bottle up those feelings inside of us, it really can make us go crazy. I think for the longest time, I tried to block feelings and tell myself, no, you shouldn't feel this way. And when we do that, when we tell ourselves that that feeling's wrong and we should feel a certain way, then that actually causes more stress for us, because what happens is that we are kind of at odds with ourselves, or fighting ourselves internally, which is not fun. I mean, there's enough things happening in the world to worry about. So I really encourage you to embrace your feelings, embrace the experiences you have. Your experiences are not wrong. I mean, there's always better ways to approach something and maybe cope, but our feelings are not wrong. I know that with myself, I do come with those past experiences that will impact our current ones, and that is fine. And just being able to talk it through, and if you're able to have that outside opinion, I'm also very grateful. And I guess an update is that I did see my therapist recently, and that was definitely helpful. We're working through that insurance stuff. Hopefully it gets figured out. I think part of the reason why it's been really hard was if you watched my last video, I had a little bit of anxiety from the fact that I was told that my therapist at the time was no longer in network, and it's just been like such one thing after the other. It's just been very interesting. Hopefully I used up all the bad luck, and moving forward it's more smooth sailing. But with that being said, I know this has been a lot already, so I think I'm gonna end it and say, please let me know if you are going going through something, if you are comfortable sharing. If you made it this far, please give me a thumbs up if you liked the video, and I hope to see you soon. Thank you again for your support. I really appreciate it and allowing me to share. I hope you have a great day and rest of the week wherever you are. Thank you so much for watching. Talk to you soon. Bye.